Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
That escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand. Wow. Feisty finish in Vancouver. Feisty finish to the Oilers. Juggernaut of a road trip. The comeback magic ran out. You know, you can only get down so many times and expect to fight your way back in, and they just didn't have enough this time around. But they went out swinging. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Post-game edition. Ryan Rishaug here. Jason Strudwick will be joining me shortly. Rob Brown will be hopping in. Sounds like he had a little scrap of his own tonight. And Chris Abuni at the controls at Growler Media World Headquarters in Kelowna. Boy, we got a lot to dissect tonight, don't we? So let's get after it. Our show is brought to you, as always, by Play Alberta. Why would you choose Play Alberta? Well, ask any hockey fan who loves odds, boosts, and player props, or same-game parlays, slots players who love massive jackpots, or lottery players who can grab last-minute tickets on the go. Deposit today, get a $50 free bet with code GYB01. That is at playalberta.ca. Coming at you from our Adrenaline Diesel studio here in Sherwood Park. Did you know Adrenaline is a Caterpillar recognized and authorized dealer and repair facility for expert service for your CAT engine? Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. All right, Struddy ready to rock and roll. Zuby ready to rock and roll, and Rob Brown will be joining us when he gets off air. Finishes up with Bryn over on 880 Chad. Okay, we'll get to the feistiness in a minute. Zuby, you have a story to make Oiler fans feel so much better about the loss tonight, though. Tell us your story, buddy. Oiler fan can take some solace in this one.
This is what everyone, I'll make it as fast as I can because no one wants to hear about this. In my beer league game at 5:30 p.m. this evening, we were down 3-2. We took a penalty with 2:30 left, killed the penalty. I headed to the bench right as our guy came out, and we scored one with 19 seconds left or something to tie it.
Wow.
And overtime solved nothing. The other goalie was fabulous. We had a power play in overtime. He made 4 or 5 incredible saves. I made a couple. I ended up having a couple not bad saves in overtime, but he was the star, and we tied. So I'll take a tie. I'll take a 3 and a tie as my. I have not been playing that well. Going back to the Schweedy clip, that was kind of the start of the turn down of my season right there. Recovered. So trying to work my way
Team's
back.
Been a mess. Chemistry on your team has been a mess ever since we called Schweedy out, Struds. We've ruined their season.
How did Schweedy play?
He was all right, but he did not score. He's goalless. Well, he has 1 goal on the year, but there's one he scored that he didn't get credit for. And then he got credit for one he didn't score. That's kind of how his season's been. But he's good. He's good in the room, Schweedy.
Good. All right. Glad to hear it. Okay, we're not going to waste any more time with any more banter because the chat is on fire here on YouTube. People want to fire Wes McCauley into the sun. The referees are a joke. The league's a joke. Everything's a joke. Do we got suspensions coming? Let's dive right into it because there's lots to talk about. The breakdown brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. 4x4 winter event is here. Get up to $11,200 in total discounts on a 2024 Ram 1500 DT Bighorn at your Alberta Ram dealer. So go for a test drive. Check out this beautiful truck inside and out at your local Ram dealer today. Okay, Struds, we can talk lots about what happened tonight, but I want to start with what might happen next game. I got a funny feeling the Oilers are not going to have 97 in the lineup, buddy. This has one game written all over it for me. You?
Really easy call. Now, I get it. I get people are frustrated. Garland was hog-tying McDavid for, 5 to 7 seconds. Should have been a penalty called. There is no doubt about it. But
that was bad.
That doesn't justify what McDavid did. So you have to separate the two. Yes, Garland should have got a penalty. But you know what? What he did was really smart. It becomes prison rules that last 10, 15, 20 seconds when the guy pulls his net or pulls their goalie. It should have been a penalty on Garland. And whether it was or not, Connor clearly cross-checks Garland in the face, in the head area. He will be suspended. I honestly, Schauger, I know you're different. I believe it'll be 2 games. I think it was intentional. He was upset, clipped him right in the face. So I think it'll be 2 games. So you can get mad about Wes McCauley not calling a penalty. I get it. But at the end of the day, you're still responsible for your actions with your stick, no matter what happens just before.
Abby Hoffman says, nope, 0 games, not even close to a game, completely wrong. Matt Blom says, Struddy is right. Matt Blom, our resident Canucks fan.
There he is.
Appropriate response for McD, says Sue. So I'm on the 2-game squad, says Haggard Prospector. Matthews got 2 games a few years ago for a similar action from Stephen Petruk. So this is the one to look at, Struds, and I sent it into the group chat. Did you take another look at the Matthews on Dahlin one? Because that was vicious. And to me, what McDavid did to Garland does not meet that. I would suggest that what Myers did to Bouchard was similar to Matthews, and that McDavid's would be 1 notch down.
So I would have the Myers and McDavid on the same level. I really do.
You would, hey? Okay.
I would. Now, Myers, let's just be clear. Myers is not the bravest soul, right? I think if that was anyone, if that's Evander Kane, he's just skating around the other way. So I was surprised by Myers doing that, but I believe both were targeted to the, head region. I truly believe that. And, I've been angry before and you're trying to aim for the guy's shoulder, but these were above the shoulder. They didn't start in the shoulder and work their way up. It hit the guys directly in the face. And that's to me, it's 2 games because it's intentional. I hope I'm wrong because I believe it's a Caps in town Tuesday. I want to see McDavid versus Ovi battle.
Yeah, we're not going to be seeing that. And then the Canucks, couple of games after that. Yeah. So if it's 2 games, so it goes Washington, then Vancouver. Right. So it wouldn't be around for the rematch, which would be a shame.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. So I mean, I hope it's 1 game. As soon as I saw it, bang! I thought to myself, 2 games. That's what we're going to see here.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see, and I'm sure we will be hearing all about the Department of Player Safety tomorrow and such. An egregious non-call by the officials there. I'm not one to do a ton of complaining about the refs, sort of let the fans get into that. I don't do it often. But that was ridiculous. Ridiculous. You got the best player in the world. You're holding his arm. You're holding him down. Then when he fights his way to get back up, you grab him and haul him down again, and there's still no call. Like that was ridiculous. Both of those actions were a penalty, and they didn't call either one of them in the last minute of an important game. Like, for them to put the whistles away at that point on a play on Connor McDavid, just ridiculous. Really, really bad, Struds.
Well, first off, really smart by Garland. And number 2, it doesn't matter who that's happening to. I don't care if it's Connor McDavid or the stick boy. That's the penalty. You're not allowing the guy. So I don't like it when we say, well, it's because it's on a really good player. It's a penalty on anybody. Just call the penalty. Like, that was he was not letting him off the ice. That's a ground and pound situation right there. So it should have been a call for sure. But I loved what Garland did. Like, that's a brilliant play, a brilliant strategy to get the best player in the league tied up.
I mean, how much time was left when he was doing that? It was probably in the last, not much. So 20, even if he did take 15, a penalty,
that's what I mean.
You risk an offensive face-off play down 2 guys. I mean, I'm not sure that I would say brilliant, because he easily could have gotten called, and then you've got a 6-on-4 scenario with 9 seconds left.
Do you think that Nugent Hopkins is doing the same thing?
Yeah, no. He's
not a chance.
You're right. It's a calculated risk.
That's what makes it brilliant, because you take the most dangerous player on the ice out of the equation. It's brilliant. Yeah. And there's a 50-50 chance it gets called or doesn't get called. Even gets called, there's no guarantee that the Canucks get the Canucks touch the puck with enough time left to make a difference. So I think it's brilliant. Brilliant play.
So Han Solo, Struds. Han Solo says he started holding him with 20 seconds left, because they were tied up for a good 10, 12 seconds, right? So you got 20 seconds on the clock, and you take a penalty on McDavid.
No,
if the refs just Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that. Because
Why?
so 20 seconds left. Do they blow the whistle right away?
Well, if you're the Oilers and the ref throws his hand up in the air and you know you're about to go up by
But
another
there's no
man,
guarantee.
you shoot the puck on net. You
But
just
there's no
give it
guarantee.
to him.
No, but there's no guarantee they recognize in that moment. You're guessing that everything works out perfectly. How long does it usually take for the other team to recognize there's a penalty called and for the other team to touch it? It's more than half a second. So
Yeah,
even
but
if
it's
it takes
4,
off 50,
it is 5 seconds.
okay, so you're down to 15
Arm
seconds.
goes up 5 seconds later. You got 15 seconds, 6 on 4. McDavid's still out there. Anyway, we're bickering over whether what Garland did was smart or not. I think it was risky. In the end, it worked out great for him, other than eating a stick to the face. But so totally worth it, says Noel Rinsky. Yeah, what is everybody else saying? I hear you on this one. Struddy says Gomez. The refs were terrible. Makes me think some of these guys are, I'm not going to read that one. It's brilliant because he knew the refs weren't going to do anything, says Davin. And maybe Garland understands who's officiating and understands the situation, Struds, and knows it's probably going to be prison rules. He would know that, to your point.
Yeah. Let me get to this one here from Dale on Twitter. What would be wrong with David doing the right thing and dropping the gloves with a guy that's 5'8"? That's how you relieve your frustration. I said, what?
No, it's not.
Are you kidding me? You want him to fight Connor Garland? Why would you want this guy fighting at all? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even, the risk of him breaking his hand makes no sense at all. So that is the opposite of anything that you want to try to solve. It doesn't make any sense at all there. So I couldn't disagree with that statement more.
Yeah, completely agree. Same thing with Draisaitl. Like, you'd see Garland was like, "You want to go with Draisaitl at the end? You're leading goal scorer, Hart Trophy candidate.
No chance.
No way you're gonna waste an ounce of skin cells on your knuckles if you're McDavid or Draisaitl to risk anything at all." So didn't. Definitely agree with you there. Okay, so this is where a coach maybe would come out and take a fine. Hey, Struds, like this of all nights, this would be the night for a coach to come out and take a fine. That's not Chris Knobloch. He's not going to be that guy, but he did have some words after the game about what happened. Let's get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. If it's time for a new furnace, garage heater, or hot water tank, Weiss Johnson's here for all your home comfort needs, specializing in servicing your existing systems or installing new ones. Stay cozy this winter. Visit weiss-johnson.com today. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
So, if Chris Knobloch comes out and blitzes the refs and gets the attention of the league and they're pissed at him, considering they're going to have a McDavid suspension potentially on their desk, maybe this wasn't the right time because, you know, they're already in the crosshairs with this cross-check. But here's as far as Chris Knobloch would take it post-game in talking about this. Where is it?
It's hockey. It's hockey.
That's Leon. Sorry, folks.
Third game around.
That's not it. Where is it?
There's a rival. 2 penalties and 2 power play goals. That was the big part of it. And then, giving up those 2 was, the difference in the game. We were able to get 1 power play goal, and they had 2, and we lose by 1. And usually special teams is the difference of a hockey game.
All right, here it is.
There's a rivalry, and Connor gets frustrated. He gets a stick up, and he's frustrated because, we're down 1 goal, and we're down 1 goal, and the best player in the league is getting held for 15 seconds. And, there's frustration that's allowed to happen, and his stick got up, and, so that's what happened.
5 shots in the third period.
So, didn't exactly come out swinging, Struds. Here's Leon Draisaitl on the same thing.
It's hockey. It's hockey. It happens. It's intense. It's just, the way it goes sometimes. Obviously couldn't get one, and then, a little bit of fisticuffs, but nothing major.
Okay, my apologies. I forgot to label my clips on the soundboard, so that is me. That is not Zuby screwing all that up, Struds. What'd you make of what those 2 had to say?
Yeah, so first off, I think that this type of intensity is great for the league. It's good for hockey to see that, especially against rivals, playoff rivals. 2, I don't think that this was a time for a coach to, in case Knobloch, to come out and really hammer the league or the lack of reffing, because I think that Connor got away with a penalty the other game with the bit of an elbow. He may have even avoided a
Great
fine,
point.
which doesn't really matter to him, or perhaps a suspension. So I think that the team's been playing really well. Things are going well. So to light up the refs, when you've had a pretty good run, you're going home, it's pretty clear that Connor's going to get a suspension. I think you can only do that so many times, Shogger, and I don't think that tonight was like with all those factors coming in. Like I understand where you're coming from, but I think with all those factors, I would have probably just said, you know what, tonight's not the night. Let's just get the hell out of here. We'll take our one game, hopefully one game suspension, and just go home. We've had a good run. And just, you know what I mean? Like it just, I don't know that, you know, if I was Rick Tocchet, maybe I'd want to get my team going and maybe I would do that, but it's not, I think it was different for the two coaches, buddy.
So the only thing I think you're right on this one. The only thing I'll differentiate is by saying that had the McDavid cross-check thing not happened and just it was a non-call, then I could see Knobloch, you know, I could see it being a better opportunity. But I think because the NHL has the McDavid file on its desk now, you're probably going to tread a little bit more carefully. So I think you're right on this one. And a great point that, I mean, they didn't have a hearing, they didn't do anything, but I guarantee you they looked at it. And now in the Department of Player Safety, they're like, 97 again? We got another file to look at from, okay, what is it this time? Okay, like, come on. Now you're making us look foolish. We didn't send a signal the other day, and now you're doing this. You're not untouchable. Boom, right? And maybe one game, but possibly two games. We'll have to see which way it goes. But interesting to have a file on their desk. Should one have anything to do with the other, Struds? It's human nature. You would think it probably will.
Well, did he get a warning? You know, did he get a warning? I mean, if he didn't get a suspension, I doubt there's a warning. But listen, I hope it's only one game and Myers also only gets one game because then they see each other on Thursday. Like that is, the NHL needs more of this. They need more animosity in regular season games. So haven't seen. I saw a bit today with Boston and Ottawa. You need some of this intensity to crank up that level of intensity in the regular season.
Lauren the Alchemist pulled the R out of your name and said Strudwick is right. So Lauren approves.
That sounds right.
Mr. Strudwick. Jason Strudwick. Okay, let's discuss, Struds, how they got themselves in that situation again. Another night where, you know, they lose the battle in the early going. They fall behind. At a certain point, you've only got so much of magic elixir, a magic comeback elixir that you can, you know, summon that power, special power so many times. And they just didn't have it in the third period. Not for a second did they have it in the third period, to my eye. Draisaitl had a bit of a look late. But, buddy, it was sloppy, messy, tired, end of a long road trip. Couldn't make a pass. 29, 97, all of them. Turnovers. That was as sloppy as they were all night in the third period.
Yeah, we can even back up into the second period and some of those power plays, right? The power plays they had, it was just, it wasn't there. They got, you know, credit. They got back in the game. Didn't, you know, the start, you know, the two penalty kill or power play goals, I guess, for Vancouver, that's hard to get over. You know, in the last game of a road trip, you give up, it was two in the first period, right? Yeah, two shorthanded or two power play goals. And that's a long road back. You know, and this is the game that you've got to manage, you know, the power play, the penalty kill, and hopefully you win that battle, then chip in 5-on-5 and you win the game walking away against a team that, you know, is ripe or was ripe maybe for a loss, just with some of the turmoil that sounds like is coming out of that dressing room. So I think we have to give the boys a pass in this game tonight. They've had a crazy run of games against really good teams. They've done well. They've banked points. They've gained ground on Vegas and, you know, the Kings. So, yeah, Canucks are chasing them. They pick up 2 points on them, which isn't always ideal. But this is a hell of a run of hockey that they've had. And eventually just a little bit off against a team that's really motivated. Well, that's what happens. You lose a close one.
All right. As I said, Rob Brown's going to be joining us shortly. Lots of mentions in the stream here that sounds like Brown and Bob got into it pretty good on the air. So it'll be interesting to hear what the contents of that were. But those two very passionate. I'm sure that was quality radio over on 880 Ched. Struds, let's get to our Relentless Player of the Night. brought to you by UCAN Youth Services. Their annual Comedy Night fundraiser is almost here. 2 great ways you can help support youth in our community. Purchase tickets or a table for one of the unforgettable comedy nights, or donate items or experiences to be featured in the silent auction. If you have any ideas, get in touch with them. ucan.ca is the website. That's where you can grab some tickets as well. Struds, who are we going to go with for Relentless Player of the Night tonight?
This player, I was under my spotlight. I was watching this guy every time he was on the ice to see how he looked, how he was doing. And JT Miller tonight played a lot against the top line, and he had an unbelievable day in the faceoff dot. And I thought that sometimes is a sign of just, not quite on it. And then you're chasing the puck down. So JT Miller was 18-5 in the faceoff dot. So for that reason, JT Miller gets the nod tonight of the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And to sort of bring it into perspective, and Matt on the stream, who's a Canucks fan, can probably talk about it too. Like the last 18 hours surrounding JT Miller was like, is he playing? Is he not playing? Is he traded? Is he not traded? The Rangers were mentioned. It's just been like Miller. He had the issue with Tocchet at the end of the last game. Tocchet with the harsh comments in the media afterwards. Miller saying he needs to be better and wanting to be accountable. And then he comes out and throws that performance out in the first period, Struds. And to me, that was a big one of the turnarounds in the second is the Oilers started to win some faceoffs. They got blown out of the water in the first period. And to your point, Miller was a beast, and a number of them led directly to great chances or goals.
And there's members of the analytics community who don't believe that winning faceoffs makes a difference, and I get it. The ones in the neutral zone aren't a big deal, but in your own zone or offensive zone, when you start with the puck, it is so great because you don't have to go get it. You have it now. It's now back in your possession. You can do what you want. So you save a little bit of energy, and you're skating downhill, whether out of your zone or into the offensive zone. So I think it's just absolutely huge. And Miller I thought he was more than I expected after kind of all the reports you've been hearing about him, especially after the last 2 games they've had.
Yeah. Okay. Setting up the rest of the show. Brownie's going to join us shortly. Klingberg is an Oiler. We are going to discuss that. He is taking a trip. He'll be the subject of our Taking a Trip segment brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross. That's going to come up. We're going to wait for Brownie to do that one. When we come back, we'll dig into some other elements of this game. Rob Brown should be joining us pretty quick. We've got Ask Us Anything, Struddy's World, Brownie Points. We'll see what else is going on around the league. Lots of shows still ahead, so stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
Thinking of that dream vacation? A quick winter escape? Well, flight delays are dreadful. Hospital visits, not fun. Alberta Blue Cross gives you coverage for emergency medical care, cancellations, and lost baggage. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Plus 24/7 travel support ensures you're never left out in the cold. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more.
Can you have more time? It was not going today.
Yeah. All right, time now for takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Right now, you can get lower than factory pricing on all in-stock pontoon boats at Martin Motorsports, starting at only $370 bi-weekly. Browse their inventory online or visit Martin Motorsports in Calgary, Edmonton, Kelowna, Saskatoon, and find your next boat, your next fabulous ride today. Okay, diving into some more elements from this game, Struds. The power play and the penalty kill. Both were factors in the game tonight, but the Canucks end up with a couple of power play goals, and Quinn Hughes is the architect of both of them. We're going to talk about him a little bit later on in our core Blue Liner segment, but from a penalty killing standpoint, they've been pretty good lately. What did you see?
Well, I think the last game they gave up 1 or 2 as well. If I might be wrong, but they've kind of gone a little bit leak here. And sometimes, I always felt when you get a little bit tired, even a little bit of like road fatigue and game fatigue, you're just not quite as sharp mentally. Your legs can be feeling good, but you're not quite as sharp mentally. And I thought the Canucks kind of had their way with the passing, especially through their diamond or whatever you want to call it. And the Oilers are just a little bit behind in the penalty kill tonight. And it's tough because you don't want those penalties to be taken. Then when you do, you got to go out there and do a good job, and they score a couple on you. So it's really tough because again, you're the last game of a road trip, and now you're down 2 on the penalty count. You got to make those up. That's a long hill to climb, especially when you count on that PK to be good like it has been for a couple of months now.
Yeah, for sure. What did you make of the 11-7 decision today?
Surprised by it, especially when you look at Kapanen and Skinner being out, and then putting Brown in because I guess they have some heaviness. You look at Tyler Myers, although he's not gonna. The only thing he really fights is the puck, and then you have guys like Dakota out there. He's a heavy player. So he ended up playing quite a bit Brown, but if I'm like, I think you play one or the other, either Brown or Stetcher. I don't think you need to play both. I would have liked to have the option to play Skinner or Kapanen, a little bit of speed, a little bit more speed up front, and maybe kind of get the lines balanced out. So for this game tonight, I didn't like the choice, although I had no problem with Brown being in over top of Stetcher. What I
didn't understand was, Arvidsson left last game, and there was some discussion about how is he, how's he going to look? Is he going to be good to go? And then they left themselves a forward short tonight. It would seem like, he played, so I guess he was healthy enough to play, but it just seems to me that I'm not sure why they would make that choice when you got a forward who's banged up. You're at the end of a really long road trip. And I would think, if anything, tonight would be a night where you hopefully can smooth out the minutes for everybody, recognizing that everyone's got to be pretty gassed. Well, that's hard to do up front, hard to do, I think, when you're in that 11-7 formation, isn't it?
It is. And then you're kind of turning to the big guys more often. So I'm not going to say that the game is lost because of that decision, but it's funny that a coach that doesn't necessarily love the 11-7 has done it now a couple times recently.
I know. This is confusing me. This is not something he likes to do.
No, it is a surprise, but I have a theory. You were talking a little while ago saying, there's a push to get Brown more games. They're getting Brown to more games. Well, now it kind of all adds up when you sign Klingberg, right? Because now Klingberg's coming, and Brown is going to go down. I'm just guessing it's going to be him, but I'm assuming it'll be him. So maybe they're pushing to keep getting him in games so he can get a number of games to feel comfortable with if they need him at some point down the line. And that's why they went to 11-7. So it was more for an eye on the future than it is maybe the short-term goals.
Yeah. What have you thought of Brown in the minutes he's been getting here?
He's moving way better than he was in preseason. I think I think what I think it is too, Shogger, is he's playing faster. So he's getting the pucks faster, moving it quicker, and he's involved. Like, he's involved physically. Took the penalty the other night, trying to get a fight going. Tonight there was a bit of a scrum. He was kind of pushing guys around, and he's got to be scrummy. I think that he's got to be a guy that, invites scrums, try to push people around, get into fights, things like that, because that's what he does better than anyone on the team.
Yeah. Here's Leon Draisaitl post-game talking a little bit about how the night went overall for his team.
At the start we wanted. Obviously, got to fix that.
What were they doing that was making it hard to generate shots and opportunities?
Defended well. I think we plenty of looks to tie it up, but they did a good job defending. Couldn't get one more out.
Sorry, go ahead. So you get the 2 in the second, but did you generate enough in the third to get enough looks in the third to tie that game?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Felt like you generated enough.
Sure.
Drysdale a little crusty there, post game a little bit. Answered a few of them, but then he had enough. Which happens with him sometimes. It's entertaining at times. I've been on the receiving end of that before, and it's always interesting to see, Struds.
But it's funny. Like, I didn't think that was even that bad a question. You know what I mean? Like, I was watching and I'm like, why is he upset? Like, yes, we did or no. Like, I didn't think it was that leading or.
No, I listened to it again, Struds, and you know me. I'm the last guy. I don't pile on to other media. So this isn't even a criticism of the question, but he had just finished saying, I thought we did a good job generating looks. And then the question was, do you think you generated enough looks in the third period to be able to come back? So I think maybe he felt like I just said that. Whatever. It's fine. All is, when teams lose emotional games, sometimes you're going to get, some frustrated responses from players. And that's all part of it. How about the power play, Struds? It's been, it's been up and down, but what did you make tonight of what they were able to get out of the man advantage?
At times, they really struggle on zone entries, which is something I think they do a good job of. And the Canucks give them credit. There was, I think it was in the second period where there was one where they repelled them at least twice in there. And it just, maybe they didn't quite have the same jump as we've seen. Maybe they've gotten a little bit more tired as we go along here. But I said it last game. I'd even considered in the second period starting the second unit. Just give them a different look, change things up. I know that they can score and they're doing well, but just to change it up a little bit, give them a break. Maybe you get the first unit for the first bit, and the second unit penalty kill goes out against the first unit for the Oilers. Like I don't know. I just think give them a bit of a pause, right? Put the other guys out there. If it's not buzzing, give them a bit of a pause.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's get to our DeBoer's YouTube poll. Brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Are you fired up yet for the upcoming golf season? The 2025 equipment from TaylorMade, Ping, and Callaway are arriving at DeBoer's. Get ahead of the fitting rush. Get your appointment scheduled today. 5311 99th Street in Edmonton is the address. Go see Scotty and TJ, Al, and the great crew down at DeBoer's. Zuby, simple poll tonight.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. What do you think Connor's additional punishment will be? Not should be, is how I put it, but I think some people might be voting what they think it should be. What do you think it will be? The options are nothing. Option 2 is a fine. Option 3 is 1 game suspension. Option 4 is 2 games or more.
Okay.
So some people have actually voted for nothing, which is that seems pretty unlikely at this point. So that's why I'm just reiterating to make sure people see that the question is what you think he will get, not what you think he should get. Oiler fan.
Struddy and I weighed in, Zuby. What do you think?
I think it might be. I actually think it should be 2 games. I think it might be 1 game because I think the league, I don't know, would they take into consideration that if it's 1 game, he plays in the rematch?
No, I don't think they care about that stuff.
I don't
think so anyway. Yeah.
I don't really think so, but that'll be the narrative if it's 1 game.
Yeah.
If I'm the league, I want them all playing on that Thursday game.
Yeah.
That draws attention. That draws eyes, right? Like that gets attention to your games.
Yeah.
Not that I know it's not Columbus versus Nashville, but I think that'd be healthy to get them both back in there. The grudge match, the hype, there'll be a lot of eyes on the TV. Like, let's do it. So maybe that is the reason they get 1 game if people believe in conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
All right.
They do. There's lots of other podcasts for those conspiracy theories, but not ours.
Yeah. We tend not to go too far down those paths and conspiracy theories and such and such. Okay, Zuby, I'm going to throw a curveball at you right now. We're still waiting for Rob Brown, and I want to hold off on the Klingberg discussion until we have Rob Brown to join us. So, because we watched Quinn Hughes play tonight, and we're going to see him again in a couple of days, let's get to our HSE Core Blue Liners segment. We are going to focus on Quinn Hughes in that segment tonight, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, they have your back when it comes to health, safety, compliance, from creating and managing tailored health and safety programs that meet all core requirements. HSE Core supports client operations every step of the way. The website is www.hsecor.com. Struds, he had himself a game tonight, buddy. Had himself a game.
Yeah, that's the kiss of good luck when I pick him for the D-man of the day. And I mean, he's a treat to watch. And the thing I think about immediately when I think of Quinn Hughes is his skating, his mobility is elite of elite. When I think about NHL defensemen, there's two that skate that well. It's Makar and it's Quinn Hughes. That's the top of the list for skating. The way that they move around, they're so quick on their feet. And I guess we're focusing on Quinn Hughes, but he's so quick on his feet with or without the puck. You look at the power play goals. He's off that blue line, sliding down, skating downhill towards the net before he even knows what's going on, zips the puck back, slides back to the middle, gets it back and rips it for the third goal. Like, he covers so much ground so quickly. His head is up all the time, never looks down. But it's the conversation for me, Rishaug, starts with his skating. That's just the way it is. My concern for Quinn Hughes and the Vancouver Canucks is, can you win the Stanley Cup with a small number one defenseman? Last year in the playoffs, he did pretty well. He competes hard. So I'm not saying he's soft. It's just, so does McDavid. He competes hard. He's a lot bigger. So does Draisaitl. He's a lot bigger than Quinn Hughes. So can you do that with that size defenseman? And Matt Blom's probably going to hate me, but I'm not sure you can. Great player.
Does it matter, those Struds? If he plays next to a guy that's a little bit bigger, or if there are other tree trunks on that blue line, and I know you're out there eating up the most minutes, so you're a small player playing against the other team's best players. Fundamentally, can you do that through the grind of a Stanley Cup playoff run? But the size thing, I mean, look, he had 92 points in the regular season in 82 games, and then he had 10 assists and no goals in 13 playoff games. We talked about it last year during the playoffs. Disappear isn't fair to him, but he was not to his standard. And so was that a size issue? And what happens in the playoffs?
I believe that the challenge is that you're going in against other skilled players that are bigger. And so you have to work so hard or be so much quicker to get there to win it, because you can't physically outmuscle guys to take the puck. Like just look at, the Oilers, McDavid and Draisaitl. Do you think that they're intimidated by Quinn Hughes to go and get the puck from them? They're not intimidated by anybody. But it's really hard because they're just bigger than you. So he skates so well, he can get around, but I can't think of that small defenseman that's been a number one who's won a Stanley Cup for his team. I can't think of one. Who's the smallest one in the last number of years? Is it Drew Doughty? Right? Of number one D man.
Yeah.
And he's 6'1" or 6'2". Like who, go back, like, Letang,
usually big boys. Yeah, maybe Letang.
Look at Vegas, just monsters. And who's their number?
Back in the day, Duncan Keith, although there would have been some debate, Seabrook played a pretty big role in being out there in a lot of those minutes.
6'1". Don't you think he's 6'1"? I think he is.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, he's not necessarily huge size.
I'm getting right down to the nitty gritty of it. Can you win a Stanley Cup with a player that size as your number one defenseman? Well, we're going to find out here. But the problem is you can't also let him go because he's such a good player, and he is an elite defenseman. He'll be in the Norris Trophy conversation for the next number of seasons. So we'll see, but I'm not convinced, man, that you can do it.
Yeah, we talked about him quite a bit last year during that playoff series. And we talked about Pettersson quite a bit, during that playoff series as well. What did you think of him tonight, by the way?
I thought he was a pretty good jump. I think got some hits, was on it. I don't think he's at all what he can be. From Christmas time on till now, like he's been, mostly down and a little bit up there. I guess when what's his name was out, when Miller is out, but I think that there's a more consistent player to be had there. Because when he gets it, I'm not necessarily scared that he has the puck. Whereas the last few years before that, you're like, oh man, we don't want this guy touching the puck.
Right. Okay. Let's get to our scoreboard tonight, buddy. There was lots of action tonight. Lots of action involving, that definitely impacted things with the Edmonton Oilers. Our scoreboard is brought to you by Canadian Club. The all-new CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%. It's a beauty. their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date. Full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with a butterscotch finish. Struds?
Well, let's stick with the ones that matter. There's a ton of games, 15 games. The Flames beat the Jets 3-1. Andrei Kuzmenko gets his second goal of the year. Been a disappointment for the Calgary Flames. Important ones, the Blackhawks take down the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights lose their second game in a row here. And in that game, Bertuzzi had 2 goals for the Blackhawks. And then the Kraken take down the Kings and do the Oilers a favor. James Schwartz, the hero in that one, got his 14th, 15th, and 16th goal of the year. So they also lose. So at the top of the Pacific Division, nothing really changes, Schauger, because everyone lost, including the Edmonton Oilers. So the Oilers remain tied at the top of that division with Vegas.
Pretty unreal when you looked ahead at the schedule, what the Oilers were facing and where they were in the standings. The idea that they gained as much ground as they did while they were in one of the worst stretches of their schedule, like big picture, Struds, this was pretty damn impressive.
It was a great run. It was an absolutely great run. And the guys fly home tonight, like be a late one. I'm guessing they won't get home before 2 to 3 before they get into their beds.
Yep.
Day off probably tomorrow. Yes. Monday, I don't know if that's a light skate. I could even see that being a day off. Like I don't know, but I'm just guessing here, right? And then get back at it Tuesday against the Caps. So
my guess is sorry to interrupt. Just on that, my guess is they're off tomorrow. My guess is they go full skate on Monday and then an optional the game day against the Caps. That based on the way they run things, that would be my sense of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, and it could be. They need rest though. They've been through every time zone. They've been all over the place, and they've played really well. My concern is just keeping them rested, right? They know how to play. So let's see what happens with all that. But incredible run, lots of players contributing, lots of players ticking up in this. But now they've got the Caps and Vancouver again, and those are 2 fun games that will be easy to get up for.
Yeah, well, and Oilers fans better enjoy this time they have with their team here coming up. So you got Washington, Vancouver. You got Buffalo, Seattle, Detroit, all at home. Then you got the Leafs, the big Saturday night matchup against the Leafs, right? Then they head out on the road, Struds. So they go out on the road on the 4th, and they've got 1, 2, 3 games on the road. Then the Four Nations hits, and then they come back and they start on the road after the Four Nations in Philadelphia. So there is, to my eye, there's 1 home game in the month of February, and that is it because of all the breaks and such. So Oilers will get some much-needed rest and relaxation at home for a couple of days, nice couple of weeks at home, and then an interesting February gets underway. That was our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. All right, when we come back, we're going to dig into the John Klingberg conversation. Yes, it happened. The deal is done. Why? What are expectations? What do you think? Let us know right now in the chat what you think. Also, if you get a second, fire us a thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate that. And any questions you have for us, fire them into our YouTube chats, and we will get to those in Ask Us Anything. Lots still ahead here on Got Your Back.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
All right, we know who's taking a trip. That is John Klingberg taking a trip to Edmonton. This segment brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross. If you're planning a trip, whether it's a dream vacation, quick winter escape, or trip to watch the Oilers play, don't forget travel insurance. Alberta Blue Cross has your back with emergency medical care, cancellations, lost baggage, and more. Flexibility, reliability, they got you covered. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more of the numerous services that they have. Okay, we expect Rob Brown will be joining us in the middle of this segment, Strud. So it was reported a number of days ago that the Oilers are right in the mix on John Klingberg, and in the end, they are the ones that land him. The contract, as per Puckpedia, it includes signing bonus of $350K and was signed during the season. The cap hit is adjusted from the $1.35 million face value to a $1.755 million cap hit. That courtesy Hart Levine over at Puckpedia. They always do a great job of tracking things. So comes a bit of a cap hit here. What do you think, Struds? Where's your head at?
When I first heard that he wanted to come back to start playing, I was blown away, absolutely blown away. And then when I heard reports that he was thinking, the Oilers were looking at him, my initial report or thoughts were wild card. This is such a wild card signing. You have no idea how this is going to play out. Now, I'm guessing that they've seen him skate. They have to have seen him skate somewhere. I don't know where.
He's been skating with a junior team for a month.
Yeah, so he's been skating. They must have seen some video. Someone must have gone to see him because if he can't skate, you don't want John Klingberg. That's just the way it is. So, the way he's skating, the way he's moving. And now here he is ready to jump in there. But my biggest question mark is this it? Is this the guy that they're going to trust to be the second pairing of Darnell Nurse? If he is, I mean, the assets was nothing going out the door. It's a great coup. They can now bolster other areas of the lineup. But is this it? And feels like it might be it, guys. Hi, Brownie.
Hi, Jason. How are you guys doing?
Good, buddy.
Anything exciting happen tonight?
Yeah. So there's a lot that we want to get to you on, Brownie. Like we want your thoughts on everything that happened and the old Donnybrook late in the game. Lots of people are chatting about you and Stauffer having a nice little set to on air. So we'll get the Coles notes on that. And we will be respectful to Bob, who's a good friend of ours. It sounds like it was great content. So interested to hear how that went. But right now in this segment, John Klingberg's taking a trip, as you know, Brownie. What do you think, buddy? What's your opinion on the Oilers taking this chance?
I think it's very low risk with the possibility of being a very high reward. If he is remotely close to the John Klingberg that we saw 3, 4, 5 years ago, that's a great addition. He was good. He moves the puck well. He's big. I would say a better than average defender. If we get a guy was not good the last 2 years and he's coming off an injury and hasn't played in 400 days and maybe past his prime, well, then you now know you got 6 weeks or whatever it is to figure out that he's not good enough and you can find something different at the trade deadline. So to me, I thought it was a good move by the Oilers. I think it's very low risk and hopefully it works out. If not, then you look for someone else.
Yeah, a couple things to consider here, guys. With the standings being what they are, especially in the East where a lot of Western teams end up doing deals with, I'm not sure what's going to be available. I'm not sure how many sellers there are going to be. And I don't think the Oilers are sure, right? They come out of those pro meetings with a list. And they've got this list of guys and priorities and different thoughts. And I can imagine there's just a bunch of question marks, like maybe this, maybe. So with a bit of uncertainty around what the actual trade market will look like, what they get here is a look-see at a guy. They already know the way he plays, right? They know the style of game that he plays. And they get a look-see at him. And it basically, as you guys pointed out, it's not going to cost them a lot. The risk is fairly low. But I like it from the standpoint that if he works out, Struds, if he can outplay Brown and he can outplay Stetcher and he can be in your lineup every night, if he's in your lineup night one of the playoffs, they've gotten ahead of it here. And there's a bit of room to get ahead of an uncertain feeling trade deadline list, Struds.
Yeah, the challenge, I think, is that they don't need him just to get above Stetcher and Brown. I think they need someone to get above Emberson. And that means they got to get up. And even in a perfect world, they get above Kulak. So I know that's a tall order, but I'm looking for a guy in their top 4. You know, so the added depth is great. Yep, there's no doubt it's great. But if he can come in and he can play above Kulak, now you have a massive problem. Not a problem, but a massive hole plugged, and still have Stetcher and Brown there.
Yeah, well, if Stetcher's your number 7, I think you're a better hockey club. If Klingberg is better than Kulak, then this was huge because Kulak's been fantastic this year.
Right.
Honestly, Klingberg could come in and he could be a guy that 3 weeks from now we're saying, yeah, he doesn't have it anymore, but he also be a guy that, hey, actually he and Nurse look good together. And Struds, this is a guy that more or less the kind of guy you've been saying the Oilers need to get.
Yeah.
Someone that can go that skates well and can move the puck. The old Klingberg, if he can get anywhere close to that, was a really good hockey player that would make the Oilers a much better hockey team.
Yeah, and so was Michael Jordan when he was 30 compared to his career, right? Like that's the problem, and he hasn't played. So I just have a lot of question marks about it. He's to me, if he can't be in your top 4, like is he taking Emberson's spot? You know, like is that what you want him? Because that's your first unit penalty kill guy. So
he's not. No, I would say he's not taking that spot. I'm not sure what his history is on moving over, if he's ever done it before, what his experience level is with that. But that's a good point, Struds. Like he is the righty, and I would say he's not doing that. To your point about is that going to be it? I think they're aware. They need to be cautious because if Klingberg comes in and plays well, and he looks good, and there's a good little bump at the beginning, which sometimes there is, it could be in and around the time where they're making those decisions at trade deadline. So do you want to allow a solid and again, I think they're going to try and they'll try and get him in before the Four Nations. Not sure what it's going to look like, how long it's going to take for him to get up to game speed. I think the option is on the table for him to do some conditioning in Baco if he needs to get some games in there. I believe that option is on the table. There'll be open dialogue between the two sides about it. I think they're wide open here. But, I think they need to be cautious of, even if he comes in and he looks like he's playing well, undershooting trade deadline, to your point, Struds. But I do believe they're aware of that. I think they know that. I don't think in their minds they're going, oh, if this works, then we don't have to go and address the blue line. I think they're very, very cognizant of that risk, Brownie.
Yeah, I think Stan Bowman's been around. He understands. He said, "This to me, this is just like a freebie. Here you go. Let's try it out. I mean, it's not costing. They didn't have to give up any draft picks. They didn't have to give up any assets, and they get a free look before anyone else does. It's like, all right, you're going to get the first look at anyone else. Everyone else is going to be watching because if the Oilers decide it's not good, they'll send them to the minors and then someone else can pick them up. But the Oilers get first look-see at it. It's another option. And who knows? Maybe he's your number 7 defenseman. I mean, going into the playoffs, if that's your number 7 and they find someone else at the trade deadline, it's not bad having that kind of experience as a number 7 instead of a Stetcher or a Josh Brown.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the Swedish connection there too, I believe, right? Who knows? Maybe he's a fit with Ekholm at some point. I mean, if the guy skates well and moves well and regains some form, that hip resurfacing, guys have had mixed results with that. But I think we're seeing, Patrick Kane came back after a very similar style surgery and regained some youth that had been lost, Struds. Mm-hmm. So this surgery has worked for guys, and if the mobility is there, like Klingberg can move the puck. Like he was known as a nice skating, puck moving defenseman. And I don't know that you forget how to move the puck. If you can't get there, it's harder. But if he can get there again, maybe that's what the problem was before.
Yeah. So best case scenario, and this is incredible, is if he can move his body and move the puck for Leon Draisaitl on that line. Because I like Kulak, I like Nurse. Yeah. They don't pass the puck like Bouchard. And so Bouchard gets to play with McDavid. So if they can have a D-man like that moving the puck, I mean, that top 4 becomes a real problem for teams because it's 2 puck movers and 2 guys that are good defensively. that is a real problem. And then you have Kulak and Emerson on your third pairing. There's something there. So that'd be the best case scenario. Like, you're feeling great about things. That's what they need. Now, he's stepping into a good situation. This team is mature. They understand how to play. He doesn't have to win the game by himself. They don't need him to be amazing. If they can get him 18, 19 minutes because he's not getting power play time or penalty kill, maybe even 15 to 17, and move that puck, it's a pretty good outcome.
That's a really good point, though, playing with Leon, though. That is a really good point because
he needs somebody.
He does get him the puck at the right times, 100%.
And Klingberg understands that's what he does. It's not even Brownie like getting him the puck. It's giving it to him when he wants it.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'd get it. If the guy was open and passing to you, I didn't care if you were ready or not. It's coming. Where this guy knows how to deliver it to you in a space where you can get it going. And that's what Bouchard does. Right? So that'd be huge, guys. Huge.
Last point on this. I can't help but wonder if this doesn't signal what the Oilers' intentions were before, and maybe still are, at trade deadline in terms of the type of defenseman that they're going to want to go out there and get. The reporting coming out of their meetings was they were going to cast a wide net. We've heard everything from Savard to, Murphy to all sorts of different names. But there is a school of thought, Struds, that, you could look at the Oiler blue line and go, wow, they could use a big defensive stalwart, a big shutdown defensive guy like that. They could use that on this group. They're maybe missing a little bit of that. But then the other school of thought is like, this team plays best when the defense get the puck to the forwards. Like, that's an absolute must. So lean into that style rather than trying to fill holes of things you don't have. Go get more of what is working for you. And I can't help but think if this signals that this is the style of defenseman that they wanted to get and likely will end up with, whether it's him or somebody else, Struds.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. But let's say it works out with Klingberg, and to bring out another guy, there's only 6 guys, right? You can't dress 7. They may want to look other.
Actually, the Oilers do quite a bit, Jason.
Yeah, but you're really dressing. To be fair, they're only really dressing 6, right? Because those guys split that 6-man ice time. But I understand what you're saying. So I think if in my perfect world, he comes back, he starts practicing with the team, then he goes down to the minors. Maybe, I don't know if there's the 4 Nations, they go during that time, and then comes and starts playing. Like, he needs a lot of games. They got to find out quickly what he's got.
Yeah, ideally, he's got games under his belt. Significant games under his belt by the time the 4 Nations come. So if he gets here, he'll get practicing with the team. They'll just see how he looks. See how he's moving, see how it feels, see how he's moving the puck, see how his hands are, his coordination and all that stuff. I think they'll rally as a group and say, okay, what do you think? A couple games in the minors? You think you're ready to hop in? They'll decide collectively what the best thing is to get him ready to go. Everybody wants the same thing. So if there's a bit of time in the American Hockey League to kind of knock some of the rust off, my guess is the player should and would be willing to do that. So this is going to be interesting. This will be interesting. The Oilers have gone bargain basement hunting before. Now, the number's a little high. I feel like league minimum maybe could have made sense, but I don't know what other teams had on the table. So there's a little bit of a hit here that I was a little surprised at the number, Brownie.
Yeah, but you're right. There were other teams involved. And they're saying, all right, we got chances. Like, what if it's Toronto? Well, we're a good team. We have a chance to win a Stanley Cup. Here's what we're offering. So the Oilers want him. They went out and got him. And to me, it's exciting because you got someone for free. And now you get to see if you can get back to the level that he was at before. But didn't Stan Bowman kind of talk about it in his media avail where he said, we're not a team that wins. We're not a 1-0 team. We're a team that likes to move the puck, likes to score. And this is the kind of player that fits what we're all about. So to go about you're saying there, Shaug, earlier, is they know what they are as a hockey club. So, the big 6'4" guy that beats people up in front of the net, that's not this team. This is the team. Yeah. Klingberg is the type of guy that this team is built like. So get the puck to Leon and have a really good group of 5 that can create as a second line.
I just see them trying to lean into their strength instead of filling in holes that would be perceived as their weaknesses. And it'll be interesting to see if Klingberg can be a big part of that. Okay, calling it audible because we got tons to get to you with Brownie on. So we're going to use our Taking a Lap segment to rehash the game a little, get Rob Brown's thoughts on things. So, taking a lap tonight, brought to you by Acon. If you are a skilled tradesperson or construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, Acon wants to hear from you, one of Canada's original industrial contractors, building some of the largest multi-year industrial projects in Western Canada, and you can be part of it. Some really exciting stuff. They're looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join their team. Join Acon. Send your resume to trades@acon.com. That is trades@acon.com. Okay, Brownie, the people want to know, for those that weren't able to get to it, what were you and Stauffer getting into it about tonight?
We had a debate or discussion about what happened at the end of the game, about how the National Hockey League takes care of their stars. He thought that the NHL needs to do a better job of looking after the stars. He doesn't think they do a good enough job. He's said that before. I said, I think the NHL does nowadays. I said, go back and look at the videos from before. Watch Crosby in the playoffs. Watch the era of Gretzky or Lemieux. I mean, Lemieux called it a joke of a league because of what he had to go through. We talked about what else did we debated a lot, and it got excited.
Got excited.
So
Nice.
It was exciting. I don't know. I said I disagreed with him on a few different points. So, and it was all revolving around the McDavid stuff. Yeah, it did. It was it was entertaining. It was entertaining.
All right.
It was obviously it was all because of what happened at the end of the game.
So at the end of the game, McDavid gets into it, or Garland hauls him down. McDavid cross-checks him. What do you think suspension is for that guy, McDavid?
I think it's going to be one for sure. But the fact that the Oilers and the Canucks play again 2 games from now, it's easy to make it a 2-game suspension. Then they don't have to worry about them playing against each other in 2 days' time. But I think it's 1 game for sure.
You think they factor that in?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if they're supposed to.
Zuby was asking that before. Yeah, Zuby was asking.
Yeah, because Myers is going to be suspended as well. I mean, the easy way to do is they give them both a couple games and they don't play against each other, and hopefully you get rid of some of the fireworks for Thursday's game. I think that Garland deserved a penalty for holding, but I thought what Garland did was smart. I mean, he's holding the best player. We're up a goal. I'm going to take Connor McDavid out of the play for the rest of the time, and that's smart hockey. Give him credit. McDavid was frustrated. McDavid then got up and cross-checked him across the face. Now, whether you can't do that, there's consequences, and the consequences are going to be he's going to be suspended. What Myers did to Bouchard, to me, I didn't like that. If you're mad at Bouchard, drop your gloves and fight him. I don't think that what Connor McDavid's was reactionary out of frustration. The Myers one was more premeditated. I'm going to come up and cross-check. Fight him if you're mad at him, or if you don't like something Bouchard did or said. You're 6'8". So I didn't like that because it was more premeditated. Both of them were wrong. Both of them should be suspended. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of daylight between the two, and you did a much better job of articulating it than I did earlier in the show. For some reason, I just feel like McDavid's in the moment, and it was a little more side of the helmet kind of thing, I think. Whereas when you're staring toe-to-toe with a guy and you choose to dummy him in the chin, that to me is a little like there's some premeditation there, and that's weaker to me. That's a little bit, not that what Connor did was honorable, Struds, but it just seems you're standing there toe-to-toe, both your arms are down, and you decide to just dummy the guy across the chin dimple, Struds. It feels different to me.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from. But I just look at the end. They both hit the guy in the head. Like I think you just ring them up for both. I'd give them both 2. I hope it's not, because I want to see them both in the lineup Thursday. I want to see those fireworks flying. And I honestly, Brownie, I'll disagree with you. I think the NHL wants that. I think they want to see that. They'll warn them, hey, we got to be careful what's going on. But look at all the people involved. Garland, McDavid, Tyler Myers, Bouchard. Like, there's a lot of guys that play a lot of minutes out there, and they'll run into each other on the ice. I think that's healthy for the league.
Well, you could be right. I think the opposite. I think they don't want that. But as a fan, I want them all playing. I think it's exciting.
Myers.
And I know one of the things I was arguing with Bob about was Garland, and they said that Connor was getting abused out there. I'm on the belief that Connor gives more than he takes. Leon gives more than he takes. I don't think there's an abuse level amongst the Stars as there was 15 years ago or 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I watched, there's a video the other night after the Oilers game in Studio 99. They have the big screens. They have like the highlights, best 20 of whatever. And it was the time that Mark Messier coming across the middle, Mike Modano, he just shouldered him in the head, knocked him out cold, helmet off, everything. That's the time Modano got on the stretcher and they dropped the stretchers. They were trying to put it into the ambulance.
Yeah.
That was a superstar, Mike Modano. You don't see that anymore in the National Hockey League. So I don't think the league is anywhere near where it was. But Connor Garland deserved a penalty. But to me, it was smart play by Garland. Hold him down.
Brilliant.
Keep him out of the way for that. Yeah, it's like, and
So
they weren't going to blow the whistle because the Oilers had the puck.
Yeah, and Struds and I were talking about that earlier, Brownie. I think I'm wrong on this one, and I'll take the loss. But the point I was making was, and one of the people on the stream helped me out, when Garland first engaged with McDavid, and what he first did was a penalty. About 4 seconds in, you were like, okay, that's getting to be a penalty now. There was 20 plus seconds on the clock. So had the refs actually just decided, no, we're calling that, it'd have been a 6-on-4 with anywhere from 17 to 11 seconds on the clock. So there was some risk in him doing what he did. Now, at the end of the day, it worked out, and he probably knew the way the refs were calling that game. But there was risk in doing that too.
But I don't know if the Canucks touched the puck though that whole time, because the Oilers got some really good chances. And we had a couple people call in and said, well, both of them probably deserved a penalty on that because Connor was grabbing him too. But we're like, well, for the ref to call both, like they said that if the ref would have made the call and called both of them at that time, neither guy would have cross-checked at the end of the game. You wouldn't have had that, which was true. But if you blow the whistle, how mad would the Oilers have been if Leon's got the puck on the side? Because Leon had a couple good shots, a couple good opportunities. So the ref's like, I don't want to call it dead because the Oilers actually are getting chances. And they did have a couple good looks. So it's just unfortunate the whole way it ended. And Connors was out of frustration and Myers was out of stupidity. That's my thought. But neither were right.
Scared. And Myers is scared. He's scared out there.
Yeah. For a big dude.
Shogger, just really quick, what do you think if, based on what you're saying, the difference between the two, what do you think the chances are of McDavid getting 1 and Myers getting 2 games? Because that would certainly send Canucks Nation into they would be not very pleased with that outcome.
Yeah, I don't think that this Department of Player Safety will differentiate. I don't think they will. I think they'll get the same. But my feeling on it is when you look at what Matthews got 2 games for, Myers is closer to what Matthews did than McDavid is. I could see, for me, it's a game for McDavid and 2 for Myers because I think Myers is closer to what Matthews did.
The only thing I would argue on that one is Matthews was engaged with Dahlin, kind of like Connor was engaged with Garland. So I find those two to be similar that way, where Myers and Bouchard weren't really even engaged. There was a push,
Brownie,
slash, and then they came together.
Wouldn't you say that the Matthews cross-check was more vicious than the McDavid one? I think he got a better piece of him, and I thought it was more forceful and more vicious. That's why for me.
Yeah, maybe. I think just out of sheer luck, Connors wasn't as just because Garland moved at the right time. It is amazing that neither Garland or Bouchard was cut on the play. That is kind of because both Myers and Connor did get a pretty good cross check in,
and they both popped right up. That maybe that factors into right.
That helped up
right away.
Yep.
Well, we're not sure if McDavid or Miles would be part of the rematch, but we do know that Brownie in the rematch with Stauffer will be on the Oilers radio network on Monday night. I'm kidding, Bob. We love you. We're just having fun. Hey, you guys are all
we
good.
Just debate. We actually usually agree on most things. Today we had a disagreement.
Love it. That's what makes for good podcasting and good radio. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back.
Same way.
Yeah, exactly. When we come back, let's do Brownie Points in Struddy's World and Ask Us Anything. And then, I think that's about all we got left. So another segment still ahead. Stay with us.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here, someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good. Trisen says, does Bob also take the 880 Ched microphones and office supplies home like Brownie? LOL. Not trying to get you in trouble, buddy. Time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by Timberhouse Developments, where if you can dream it, they can make it happen. A truly customized building experience. They've got you covered. Every house is unique. Every customer is like family. See what you can dream up together. Contact Donnie Tolsma, the great crew down at Timberhouse. Their website is timberhouse.ca. Struds.
Yeah, a lot of reports came out that, JT Miller was going to be traded from Vancouver, and they were even thinking about holding him out for tonight's game, to the Rangers. Now, he did play the game, so ultimately maybe the deal was paused, according to Elliot Freeman, or maybe on the revisiting it or whatever. But it just blows me away that these two elite players couldn't sort it out, along with their coach and maybe some of their teammates, to stay together. Because I cannot see the return being as good as the player that JT Miller is, or that Miller and Pettersson and his teammates can be all together. I might be proven wrong. We'll look at the deal. But whoever's going to get JT Miller is going to get a player who is going to be – he's a lot to handle on the ice, and he can be a bit of a challenge off the ice, it sounds like, as well. But that's sometimes you got to accept that for what's going on there, and his teammates have to gather around him. I remember playing with Sean Avery. And arguably the most hated player at that point in the Rangers across the league. Everyone hated him, everyone. But we had people that managed him. Brendan Shanahan, Jaromir Jagr. I helped in my way to manage him within that dressing room. And by doing so, he was an amazing force for us on the ice. And the Canucks have obviously been unable to do that. And whether he was traded yesterday, tomorrow, or whatever, he's getting traded, guys. I can't wait to see the outcome for the team that gets him and the team that's losing him in the Canucks.
What's shocking about this is we saw how good the Canucks were last year in the playoffs. They go take the Oilers to Game 7. They lose by a goal without their number one goalie and without their number one goal scorer. Do the Canucks win if either Besser and or Demko are in the lineup? They're that close. We saw how good JT Miller was in that playoff series. He was all world. I've been on a number of teams. You don't always love every one of your teammates. You don't. There's political differences. There's nationality differences. There's how you raise your children different. Like, you're throwing 23 guys from all different walks of life into a dressing room. But at the end of the day, you find a way to be teammates. And for two superstars, and they're both superstars, to not be able to get along to the point that one's taking a leave taking a leave from the team. You got another guy who's having an absolutely horrendous year after he just signed an $11 million contract. You got Quinn Hughes, who I don't think likes talking publicly, having to come out and talk about why they're not getting along. It is absolutely shocking that it's come to this. I've been around hockey now, 40 years since I started playing junior. I've never seen anything like this. And I'm absolutely shocked that the Vancouver Canucks are from where they were last year to where they are today, and that they're going to be getting rid of a heart and soul player like JT Miller.
So, Struds, you making the point about Avery got me thinking a little bit, and I'm looking and perusing this Vancouver roster. And I'm wondering, like, JT Miller is a big presence, a veteran presence, right? 31 years old, great player, big contract, like he has presence. And there aren't a lot of people and personalities who would maybe be able to impose themselves on the situation and have any effect on Miller. It would take a certain type, a certain veteran, you know, like yourself, or like, and you look at this Vancouver roster, and I guess I would ask you, like, there's no, who would be the person here that would be able, on a player level, you know, be able to have some level of leadership and step in and be part of this, right? I don't necessarily see that name anywhere in here.
Well, it has
really
to start
good
with the captain. It has to start with the captain, right? And then I'm not sure that Quinn Hughes is that guy.
Yeah, how is he at that age? Yeah, like that's
I know,
tough.
but that's unfortunately when the C's on your chest, that's part of the job, right? That's why you have it on you. You have to be able to have those conversations. But you're right. There's no 2 500 goal scorers on that team that are going to just say, "Hey, buddy, pipe down and go down, and quiet down, Sean." So it's a point well made. But I think it starts your captains. Maybe, you know, Myers has been around a long time. Brock Besser. I don't know him at all, but maybe he's not quite that guy either. Like,
they're just guys trying to get there. I mean, Besser had a good year, but like,
yeah.
you know, there's no
DeBrusque,
Corey Perry. There's
around.
no,
yeah. Corey Perry would be a great
Ekholm,
example.
no Nurse, no,
yeah.
And so
right.
That's, and you know, and it's not that it's them against that player. Like, I don't want to get clear. It wasn't us versus Sean Avery, but when things would get going, I remember it so clearly. Everyone called him Aves. And when he'd get into like rolling and start going after his teammates, Shanahan would be like, "All right, Sean, that's enough, Sean. Go back and sit in your stall, Sean." And we call him Sean to kind of be like, "Hey, man, you're acting like a little kid. Get back into your area." And it was so funny, and everyone kind of laughed, but we all knew, like, hey, that's the end of it. That's the end of this. And Sean would go back to his spot, and then he'd calm down, and we all start up again.
But the thing is, with Avery, Avery would be a small piece of that team. So it's easier.
Yeah,
there
fair
would be a
point.
lot of
Yeah.
players that would be higher on the hierarchy than him. Miller's near the top. Like who would be, like, Quinn Hughes would be above him because Quinn Hughes is a Norris Trophy winner.
Yeah.
And then he and Elias Pettersson would be pretty close. So there's not like someone that can say settle down because he's the one telling people to settle down. So it would be tough.
The personality, Brownie. Like, you got to be able to challenge someone with their personality. Like it sounds like his personality, and I get it. Like, he's a competitor, and maybe there's some other stuff. I don't know what it is, but you need someone that can say, "Hey, man, like enough, right?" We've all had those moments with guys and said, "That's enough. That's enough."
Somebody that he respects, someone that's been around a long time, someone that, you know, maybe has a solid relationship with him, who you can just kind of, you know, it would. I agree with what you're saying, Struds, about it's not necessarily hierarchy on the team, but more that person in the room, that respected presence in the room, the guy that everybody, you know, when he talks, everybody listens, regardless of how many minutes he plays. And I think different teams have had, you were one of those guys, Struds, and different teams have had those guys over the years.
Yeah.
So.
But it didn't hurt to have 2 Hall of Famers backing me up. What do you think, Yags? Okay, good. All right, I'll keep chirping him.
Do I have your permission, Mr. Shanahan? I can help out here. All right,
is this okay, Shanahan? Okay, I'll do it. I got it.
I got this one. Brought to you by Timber Haas. That was a good one, Struddy. Appreciate that perspective. All right, let's get now to our Brownie points. So glad that we waited and had Brownie join us tonight. Brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. If you need a unique idea for your team or school's next fundraiser, they can help you raise money by customizing a variety of options from their world-famous jerky, 13 flavors, and an all-new jerky pepperoni bundle. There is something for everyone, and for the month of January, free shipping Alberta-wide on orders over $55. For more detail, visit albertajerky.com. All right, Brownie.
Well, it wasn't a good night for Oilers and Oilers fans, so tonight we're taking a few points away. We're going to put some back in my own piggy bank. We're going to start first. We're taking away -2 Brownie points to the Edmonton Oilers discipline. The one thing we've been talking about, and I have been all year long, the Oilers discipline has been fantastic. First period, they gave up 2 power play goals. That was a dumb penalty by Evan Bouchard. He got cross-checked by Miller. Miller skated away. He two-handed him. That's easy for the ref to call. They always call the second one. Matthias Ekholm cross-checks DeBrusk in front of that. He argued it, but his stick snapped in half. That's a hard one to argue to the referee when your stick is in two pieces. Then obviously at the end of the game, Connor McDavid gets frustrated, cross-checks a player, Garland. He's probably going to be suspended. So the Oilers discipline loses some Brownie points. Minus 97 Brownie points to Connor McDavid. You're the world's best. There are times you're going to get frustrated, but that you cannot do. To me, he's going to be suspended, and the grade 8's coming to town, and I love superstars going against superstars, and it'd be a shame for Connor not to be going against Alex Ovechkin. Minus 57 for Tyler Myers. That was predatory, and I agree with you, Shogger. That one had more viciousness to it, because if you're 6'8", you don't have to cross-check Bouchard across the face. Drop your gloves. Beat him up if you want. You're 6'8". Don't wait till he gets close to you and cross-check him across the face. They need to get that out of hockey. So minus 57 for him. Minus 9, and this goes on what Struddy just said, to the Vancouver Canucks. We saw in the playoffs last year what JT Miller is as a hockey player. We saw tonight what JT Miller was as a hockey player. He was fantastic for the Canucks. He had 2 assists in the hockey game. He was all over Leon that one shift. They're giving it to each other. He's one of the few players in the National Hockey League that can match up against Leon and give as much as Leon gives to him. So minus 9 to the Vancouver Canucks. If JT Miller is the guy that they move out, you're going to need a king's ransom coming back if you're going to be able to fill that role. And I got 4 Brownie points going to Pittsburgh Penguin goalie Alex Nedeljkovic. Say it for me, Shogger. Nedeljkovic.
Can you spell it? Can you spell it for us, please? Use it in a sentence.
So Alex from Pittsburgh, their goalie, he's got 4 Brownie points. Last game, he had 40 saves. He had a goal. He had an assist. This is his 4th goal as a professional. He's had 1 in the NHL, 2 in the American Hockey League, 1 in the ECHL, and became the first NHL goalie ever to have a goal and an assist in a hockey game. I don't know if you guys saw the goal, but he went, that puck came around as hard as it could. He went out, got it, and snapped it right down, took a hit while he was shooting it. And Sidney Crosby looking back with a smile on his face as it went into the empty net. That was worth it too. So the only positives tonight, the goalie named Alex from Pittsburgh, he gets 4 Brownie points.
You know what, guys?
Good stuff.
I'll say this. I was actually really disappointed. Like, what a loser. Why wouldn't he get in a fight to get the Gordiel hat trick after that one?
Yeah. That was a missed opportunity. That is a missed opportunity.
Like, as soon as the puck goes in, just grab someone. Just start thumping on somebody. Could you imagine? He'd be a folk hero, a cult hero.
That'd never be broken. Yeah.
Never.
I would have learned his name if he would have done that. See, I would have known how to say his last name, but that would have been funny. So, but it was a great shot.
He skates toward the bench and he jumps in there. Instead of jumping in, just wait for it to go in, then just hammer someone. Like, just start a brawl, get into it, and then he'd be a legend. He would be an absolute legend, man.
All right, that was Brownie Points brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. All right. Great number on the stream tonight. We really appreciate it. Let's see what you're saying in our Ask Us Anything segment. And that is brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. If you need to renew your mortgage, don't just sign the papers. Maria Gallus with Maximum Mortgages can take care of finding you the best rates and work with your best interests in mind. Contact Maria today at mortgagesbymaria.ca for all of your mortgage needs. Just had a nice chat with Maria the other day. She always does great work for Randy and I on all of our mortgage needs. Okay, Zuby, what do we have going tonight, buddy? Why don't you tee up Struds and Brownie?
Sure, lots to get into here. Sue says, please comment on the past couple of games played by Stu Skinner. Obviously, 3 goals against in the past 2 first periods, and then he's kind of locked it down after that. But what are you seeing in Stu's game with these early goals against, Struddy?
Well, I mean, the first one goes off his D-man skate, so it's difficult to control. The second one, which one? The third one was the point shot.
The one was
right?
Hughes from the point. That was a great shot.
Yeah. The third one. Then the second one, it was a tip shot that he could hit the rebound, and people didn't like that the rebound was not controlled. It was a tip shot. He went to play it, tipped in front of him. He still makes the save, and it goes bad rebound. So The first two, no problem. This third one, maybe, he could maybe be able to further out, make a save there. But the first two, I'm not sure how you can complain about that, boys.
And I'm going to go glass half full. Both games, he said that, you know what, I can't give up another goal. If he gives up the fourth goal in either game, the games are completely over. And both times he shut her down at 3. So I give him credit for that.
Okay, getting back to the scrums. Oh, Captain, my captain says, funny they ended up calling penalties on everyone on the ice, and all they had to do was call the right one. We've been all over that. I guess the question I might lead to from that is there any internal reviews? Do these officials get spoken to in any way? Will there be a review, or internally for them to say, you missed that one, maybe none of this other stuff happens if you had called that? Brownie?
The referees get watched every night, and they get rated. And the way the referees get picked to be in the playoffs is it's the best referees. They rank them throughout the season. So yeah, they will 100% looking at this game, seeing what they did right, what they did wrong. And when something like this happens, I would imagine more so if you got 2 match penalties at the end of the game, how could it have been reffed any differently? So yeah, 100%. They will take, the referee in chief will take a look at this game and decide whether something could have been done differently.
When I played junior, if that had happened, that exchange with 3 seconds left, I would have sent the referee a poinsettia every year for Christmas if I had kicked out, because if I wasn't kicked out, old Uncle Struddy would have been fighting off the next straw. And I didn't want to, because they put their tough guy out there that beat me up. So I would have been so thankful. I would have sent him a poinsettia for the rest of his life at Christmas.
Okay, this is a take that Neil Garrity's been on for a little bit for a while here. He says, I'll say it again, Ekholm should not play in the Four Nations. What do you guys think of Ek's game lately? And is there something there? He doesn't seem quite himself. Could he use the rest more than that tournament, Struddy?
I think they could all use the rest, right? For a tournament I'm not excited about. Like I have no problem if they don't want to play. I'm not excited about the tournament. I'm sorry, I can't get excited. I know there's people trying to generate excitement. I'm
You're
not
gonna have to fake it, buddy, because we're gonna do podcasts all week that week. So start conjuring up the fakeness.
But I'll be blunt. It's not the Olympics. It's not a Stanley Cup. Mm-hmm. It's a tournament my kids go to on the weekend, and maybe the guys will have a little bit better than hot dogs and chips. But anyways. Yes, I think Ekholm could use a break, but I think they could all use a break. Leon Draisaitl will be just sipping margaritas wherever he's going to be and relaxing. I think that'd be really healthy for him.
Well, I agree with Strads. I doubt I'll watch a single game. I'll be in Costa Rica. I'll be doing my podcast from Costa Rica, Shogger. So, but could he use a break? Yeah, 100% he could. But I can tell you, every single player is dying to play in that tournament, and there's zero chance that Ekholm's going to miss that opportunity.
That was going to be my next question, just to follow up. The players, are they seeing this really, truly as something they're more excited about it than an all-star game?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, for sure. You hear see the disappointment of the players that didn't get picked. Like, they want to be part of this, and it is an audition for, there's certain players that are going to be playing in the Olympics, and you all know which players those are, but the rest of the players are auditioning. They all want to be part of the Olympics the following year. So the guys that are there are pumped. They get to show what they're capable of doing. And the guys that aren't there are disappointed that they're not getting to show that they're capable of playing at that level.
You can make the case so there's more talent at the All-Star game than there is at the Four Nations.
Yeah, well, you can, because you got none of the Russian players. You got no Leon, no Pasternak. You got all kinds of fantastic players.
Okay. Oh, Captain, my captain says going to be some scraps in the rematch. They're going to keep. They're going to want to keep Brown for that one. Klingberg might have to wait another game. Do you think that timing lines up, or do you think Brown will be gone before then, Brownie?
Well, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that, because they haven't officially signed Klingberg, and that's supposed to happen the next day or two. And
yeah, he's not stepping in and playing immediately. Like that's I don't think he's playing this week. I think that's going to be a little bit of time skating with the team. So,
but to sign him though, even if he's not playing, don't they have to take someone off the roster then?
Yeah, we need to get Hart Levine on. By the way, we had a request for Hart Levine to come on for the Ask Us Anything segment, so we're going to look into that. Not going to promote it yet, but maybe we'll get Hart on here one night and he can answer all of these questions.
The second Klingberg signed, Josh Brown is going down. That's you can't carry 8 defensemen. No.
But I can see that. I
That'd
can see
be-
what he was saying, though. Do you want Josh Brown for the rematch? Again, you know what's funny, though? A lot of times when there are this big thing and everyone's excited and they're going to have the rematch, there's going to be fights, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
And my guess is that's what's probably going to happen. Nothing will happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Connor Garland did something that he has to answer to. I mean, he took a penalty that wasn't called on McDavid. He didn't do anything. He didn't take any liberty with McDavid or anything like that. If nothing else, the Oilers might want a piece of Tyler Myers for what he did to their number one defenseman or
the Canucks,
their top pairing defenseman.
No, in that line of thinking, Connor McDavid has to, he should be the one that should take some heat over what he did to Connor Garland.
Yeah, which isn't going to happen. Like
I know, but
McDavid's not.
That's how it happens. I know, but that's how someone will want to piece him. I bet you someone challenges him. I bet you Connor Garland actually.
Connor Garland might. Yeah, Garland might challenge him.
I don't want him fighting though. I do not want him to fight at all. That's right. If your choice,
he fought once in junior.
Top rope.
He fought in junior. Didn't he blow? He hurt his knee or his ankle or something.
Yeah.
Or was it his hand? Yeah,
broke his hand. Heavy hands on that guy.
Yeah. Okay, here's an interesting thought. We could just do this really quick. Chris said, I think if you're playing Brown, I think he means Josh Brown, it needs to be as a fourth liner. Struddy, you moved up and played some forward. What do you think of taking a big body like him, putting him up on the wing? If you're going to play 11 and 7 anyway, if you're going to dress the guy.
Yeah, he'd get probably 1 minute up there, right? Like it's not, I didn't really love playing forward. It's like, we just need you in case something bad happens. I'm like, oh God. Please don't let anything bad happen.
Yeah, but it bothered you how much more thinking you had to do too, right, Struds? Like you were pretty used to just taking it easy and off the glass and out, but
no, there was a
different challenge for you.
I left my brain in the dressing room, and I still was one of the best forwards out there.
I got to be honest. There isn't a lot of thinking as a winger. How is a winger? You don't have to. There's one guy you look after.
Zero thinking, zero responsibility. Oh, I got to get the puck out on our blue line. Oh, that's so hard. Come on. It's easy.
Oh, here comes another pass from Strudwick off my bum.
Yeah, well, get open. It won't be off your ass.
All right, that was Ask Us Anything brought to you by...
Let's go one more if you guys can have a quick. This was a good one. A late entry from Bro Nelson. She says, "Ask us anything in honor of Hockey Day in Canada." Let me start that over. In honor of Hockey Day in Canada, what is the fella's favorite minor hockey memory? You guys got something good that pops into your mind? I'll throw it to whoever can go first.
I got it.
Unity tournament. Oh yeah. Okay, you go.
Go ahead. Shuggy.
Unity tournament. My Pee-wee trip. No, my Bantam. I don't know, Pee-wee or Bantam. We went to Toronto for a tournament that had like 60 teams in it, and it was the first time I'd ever traveled out of province, like for a massive tournament like that, and it was fantastic. Great memories.
Yeah, same minor hockey week. We won minor hockey week. I think it was Pee-wee. And every time we won, this guy was running a Safeway. He'd give us our own bag of chips. I've never played so hard in my life. I love chips. I'm not kidding you. I worked harder there than I did in the NHL. Just free bag of chips every game. That was crazy. We won, fueled on chips.
I played for a team called the Kitchener-Bauer Krauts in, I think it was Pee-wee or maybe Adam hockey. And we went, Murray Freed was a famous coach in Kitchener. We went to Boston and New York City, and our team was on Good Morning America. We all got to, at the very beginning, yell out, Good Morning America. They had the Kitchener-Bauer Krauts on it, so that was kind of cool.
Did you say the sauerkrauts?
No, Bauer Krauts. Like Bauer hockey sticks. Did they have Bauer when you were playing?
But sorry, the name of the team was the Krauts?
Yeah, the Kitchener-Bauer Krauts. It was a very German area that around there.
Okay, that's cool.
We had a really good Oktoberfest party.
Wow.
Zuby, did you have a favorite minor hockey memory?
Oh, I feel like I'm still playing minor hockey. You know what? I remember we played in a tournament, I think in Lacombe, Alberta, and we were like a house league team, and somehow this AA team got in, and they were short, and we ended up. This is a bizarre memory as like a favorite, but I just remember we actually won by default. It was sort of they were short players, and they were getting rough with us, and we were winning 3-2, and they took too many penalties. They didn't have enough players to put on the ice, so the game got wiped out. But we won, and so it was like this massive. We probably wouldn't have won if the game had gone to full time, but
Did
it was
you
like
celebrate?
this. Oh yeah, it was like this. Well, I think it was Pee-wee. Like we were pretty young. But I think we were all pretty pumped because we beat a double A team who we were not going to win to if we were not going to win if it went to full time. So
yeah, I've seen your men's league stats in the video. You're a house leaguer?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, it is
Really?
hard to believe, isn't it?
It is. I thought you were like, U18 AAA.
Yeah, I watch those guys sometimes. I saw them. I saw them play.
You and Schweedy, yeah. Came up through the bigs together. All right, Zuby, get yourself out of this. Wrap up the poll, buddy.
Oh yeah, good idea. Yeah, so the poll tonight, I can have Brownie in here too. The poll tonight, You stay, Brownie. The poll tonight question, the De Boer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll was, what do you think Connor's additional punishment will be? A 1-game suspension, people say 44%, 2 games or more, 29%, 18% think he's just getting a fine, and a very optimistic 7% say nothing. Nearly 400 votes, and a great, a really good stream tonight, and people, obviously, lots of debate about the events, especially at the end of the game, and cooler heads prevailed on the stream as it did at 880, I think, as well.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, time to wrap it up with our play of the day. Brought to you by Gallery Dental. Take the first step towards a stress-free dental experience, providing modern dentistry for today's patient with the most up-to-date dentistry, sedation, implants, and so much more. Check them out at gallerydentalYEG.com. Struds, we got a play of the day tonight?
Yeah, controversial. Connor Garland's hold on Connor McDavid. These are his words. I mean, I'm just holding him.
Play
He's
of
the
the
best player to ever
day?
do it. The time's running out. I just thought that maybe that was the best way for us to win the game was to do that. Connor Garland holding Connor McDavid. Brilliant play. Someone called it that earlier. I don't remember who said it, but either way.
Yeah,
that was a quote from him.
Was honest.
That was what he said.
It was
post-game?
That's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, and it's true. Like, you're holding on the best player in the other team. Yeah, it happens all the time. Go ahead. One less worry. So, unfortunately, he got cross-checked in the face for doing it.
Yeah. All right. Brownie, you put in a little overtime with us tonight. Thank you, my friend. We'll chat again. We got a pod ready to rock and roll on Monday night. John Klingberg, I think, will do his first media availability on Monday, so we'll have some Klingberg content set to go on Got Your Back Monday night, boys. Great job. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Get some sleep.
Zuby, great job as always, my friend. And thanks to all of you for joining us on the live stream, or if you've downloaded us and are listening in podcast form, however you're consuming Got Your Back. Thank you. Tell a friend. Throw us a like. Subscribe to all of our channels. We'll chat again in a couple of nights. This has been Got Your Back, presented by our title sponsor, Play Alberta. See ya.